Hey, and welcome back. As I am speaking to the future, you are listening to the past in your present. Think about that one. Okay, so here we are in chapter 18, section 4. We're going to be looking at indoor air pollutants. Okay, so when we're looking at our objectives, we're looking at what indoor air pollutants are. Okay, that it's smoke, soot from wood and coal cooking fires, okay, and chemicals used in building materials and cleaning products. All those are examples of indoor air pollutants. Okay, so what are they? What are the problems? EPA is the U.S. government organization called the Environmental Protection Agency. They do studies, and levels of common pollutants are actually 5 times higher indoors compared to the outdoors. Now, why? Why would that be the case? Well, if you think about it, if you're living in a house, the purpose of living in the house is you have shelter from the outside. If the outside is cold, you close the windows, you close the door, and you turn on the heater in your house so that you could be comfortable. On the other hand, if it is hot outside, like September, for example, August, September, October, you go in the house, you close the windows, you close the door, and you turn on the air conditioning. In both cases, the air that is in the house is not freely exchanging with the air outside of the house. So what happens is whatever pollutants that we have indoors, it's not getting out. It's not being exchanged. So what's happening is that it's accumulating, it's increasing, it's piling up. So that's why the level of common pollutants are 2 to 5 times higher indoors than outdoors. Now, if you think about your car, especially in Southern California, pollution levels inside the cars in traffic clogged conditions. You're on the 10, you're making your way to school, and somebody up ahead had an accident and you're stuck, surrounded by other cars. And you know what? You're going to get a lot more pollutants that you are breathing in. You cannot escape that because all those cars around you are stopped and people are not going to turn off their engines. The engines are going, the exhaust is coming out, and it's going to go into your system. Boom, boom, boom. So it's 18 times the normal. Well, what's the normal? Fresh air, regular air. So, of course, health risks from exposure goes up due to people spending 70 to 98% of the time indoors or in vehicles. Wait, how does that work for the quarantine? Yeah, what's worse, the coronavirus or the pollutants? Now, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Okay? But the reality is that you get more health problems if you spend most of your time indoors. You do, or in vehicles. You are more likely to have that. So, what about allergens? So, we have EPA studies that also show things. That's another type of indoor air pollution. Well, what are allergens? Allergens are those things that make you faked it. So allergens are things that will cause a person to sneeze or have some kind of an allergic reaction. The eyes, they may start to water, they may turn red, they're itchy, and you have to go and blow your nose repeatedly. So things like cockroach droppings, yum. Dust mites. Dust mites are little creatures that live off of dead skin cells of living things. If you've ever dusted the furniture in the house, you take your finger and you wipe like this, And you'll notice there's lots of white stuff in there. A lot of that white stuff are dead skin cells. Ew. Yeah. Ew. Hey, that's the name of a new character. Ew. Okay. So, dust mites are the little creatures that live in your pillow, in your mattress. You even got one or two in each of your eyelashes. You can't escape them. You cannot pull them out. They're here. They've been here before you were ever born. They will stay here after you're gone. They're dust mites, and their job is to eat the dead skin cells. Otherwise, we would be piled up over our heads in dead skin cells within a week. So, guys, that also causes indoor air pollution. Just a thought. Okay? That causes it. Now, there's also airborne spores of molds, fungal growths, mushrooms, mold. And that is the single greatest cause of allergic reactions to indoor air. Every so often, the air conditioning heater people need to come out and they will offer to clean out your air conditioning and heating system of spores and mold and dust and all the gross stuff so you could actually breathe a little bit better. Just saying. Sick building syndrome. How about pollutants in buildings causing sickness? Yeah, that happens. Chronic fatigue syndrome. Very difficult to diagnose. It is an actual medical condition where you say, I'm tired, you know? And it's not like, oh, I'm tired because I spent all night, you know, becoming a legend on League of Legends. Okay, of which I quit that long ago because I got tired of carrying all of you. Okay, but the idea is it's something that's a real medical issue where a person cannot really function normally on a day to day basis. Okay, now we're talking about all kinds of indoor air pollution issues. Okay. How about this one? Cigarette smoke, formaldehyde. You will find that in certain materials. Okay. Radioactive radon 222 gas. Read up on the case study, pages 485, 86. Very small, fine, and ultrafine particles. Now, what do we mean by small, fine, and ultrafine particles? Are we sitting there and saying, wow, that particle looks hot. That particle is fine, ultrafine? No. It means they're very, very tiny and they are very likely to go up into your nose, into your sinuses, down your windpipe, into your lungs. That is a problem. And that's why our lungs have little hairs in them called cilia, okay, to help get rid of that. Just saying. All right. So it is a problem with developing countries when we have indoor air pollution, okay? Um, we don't see it so much here in the United States, but the problem is that there are people who go burn coal, wood, and dung inside the house, not in the fireplace. That's a problem. Some years ago, up in Seattle, there was a warning that went out to the residents of Seattle: don't burn a charcoal fire. Don't have a barbecue inside the house. We know it's cold in the wintertime. You want that as a heat source, but that can harm you, that can kill you because of carbon monoxide poisoning. Well, what happened was a few days later, the police got the call. There was a family who emigrated from somewhere in Africa. I think it was Ethiopia. It's like a family of four or five. They were found dead. They died from carbon monoxide poisoning because they had a cooking fire inside their apartment. Radioactive radon gas. Read up on it. Pages 490 and 491. Can't emphasize that enough. Okay. And I am going to stop here for 18.4. So you know what? We've talked about indoor air pollution. We've looked at certain pollutants like radioactive radon gas. We've looked at the problem being in developing countries where people are burning coal, wood, and dung inside the house, not in a fireplace. We've talked about the four most dangerous indoor pollutants in developed countries like cigarette smoke, formaldehyde, okay, small, fine, and ultrafine particles, along with the radon. We've talked about chronic fatigue syndrome. Okay, we looked at what happened with EPA studies. We looked at the idea of allergens, okay, airborne spores of molds, what they can do. We know that the levels of pollutants are much higher indoors compared to outdoors where you have access to fresh air and the wind can come and blow that away. We know that the pollution levels inside cars in a traffic clogged condition 18 times normal, and maybe some of you guys have smelled some of that car exhaust when you're sitting there. And again, you tend to get more health risks from exposure because of people spending most of the time indoors. And with that, I'm stopping here. You guys take care, and I'll catch you on another one.